Welcome, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about something that sounds very small, but has the power to completely change your life. Not in 10 years, not someday in the future, but starting from today. Most people believe that life changes through big moments, a big opportunity, a big decision, a big breakthrough. But the truth is much quieter than that. Life does not change in big moments. Life changes in small hours. Think about this carefully. Every single day, you wake up with 24 hours. Rich people get 24 hours. Successful people get 24 hours. Struggling people get 24 hours. Nobody gets more time than you. The only difference between people is how they use their hours. Most people spend their hours reacting to life. They wake up and immediately check their phone. They scroll through social media. They rush through the morning. They spend the day busy but not growing. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into years. And suddenly they realize something painful. Their life never really moved forward. But there is a simple truth that powerful people understand. You don't need to control your whole day to change your life. You only need to control 1 hour, just 1 hour that belongs to you. 1 hour where you are not distracted. 1 hour where you are not escaping. 1 hour where you are building the person you want to become. That 1 hour becomes your private workshop for transformation. Inside that hour, you build your mind, you build your discipline, you build your future. And if you repeat this every single day, something incredible begins to happen. Your thinking becomes stronger. Your focus becomes sharper. Your confidence grows. And slowly, quietly, your life begins to move in a completely different direction. People around you may not notice it at first, but 1 year later, they will look at you and ask a question. What changed about you? And the answer will be simple. You started protecting 1 hour a day. In today's video, we are going to talk about how 1 hour a day can change your life. We will explore powerful lessons that can help you take control of that hour and use it to build the life you truly want. And as you listen to this video in clear and simple English, you will also improve your English listening and understanding skills. So listen carefully, because this idea may look simple, but if you truly understand it, it can completely transform the direction of your life. Lesson 1. The power of 1 hour every day. Most people underestimate the power of small daily actions. They believe life only changes when something huge happens. A new job, a new opportunity, a lucky break. But the real engine of transformation is not big events. It is consistent hours. Think about the structure of your day. Your day is not made of years or months. It is made of hours. And inside those hours lies the true power to shape your future. Imagine that starting today, you dedicate just 1 hour every single day to improving yourself. Not 10 hours, not 5 hours, just 1 focused hour. What could happen in that hour? You could learn something new. You could read powerful ideas that change your thinking. You could practice English speaking. You could build a new skill. You could strengthen your body. You could plan your future. You could reflect on your life. 1 hour may look small, but when that hour is focused and intentional, it becomes incredibly powerful. Because growth is not created through occasional effort. Growth is created through daily commitment. 1 hour today, 1 hour tomorrow, 1 hour the next day, day after day after day. At first, the change may feel invisible. The first week may not look dramatic. The first month may not feel extraordinary. But something important is happening beneath the surface. Your brain is learning discipline. Your mind is absorbing knowledge. Your confidence is slowly growing. Your identity is beginning to change. You are no longer someone who is just passing through the day. You are someone who is actively building a better version of yourself. And this is where the real transformation begins. Because when you start using 1 hour every day to improve yourself, you send a powerful message to your own mind. You are telling yourself, my growth matters. My future matters. My life is worth investing in. Over time, that message becomes your identity. You start seeing yourself differently. You become someone who grows, someone who learns, someone who improves. And this is exactly how extraordinary lives are built. Not through sudden miracles, but through quiet daily hours of self-improvement. If you protect and use 1 powerful hour every day, that hour can become the most important investment you ever make in your life. And the beautiful truth is this: you do not need special talent to start. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need a complicated plan. All you need is the decision to say, every day I will give 1 hour to becoming better. And that single decision, repeated every day, can slowly transform your life in ways you cannot even imagine today. Lesson 2. Guard the hour like treasure. If Lesson 1 teaches you that 1 hour can change your life, then Lesson 2 teaches you something even more practical. That hour must be protected. Because the truth is, it is not enough to say, I will give 1 hour to my future. You must also learn how to defend that hour. Why? Because the world will always try to steal it. Your phone will try to steal it. Notifications will try to steal it. Random conversations will try to steal it. Laziness will try to steal it. Your own excuses will try to steal it. And if you are not careful, the hour that could have changed your life will disappear in a few careless moments. This is why I say, guard the hour like treasure. Think about how people treat valuable things. If someone has gold, they protect it. If someone has money, they protect it. If someone has an expensive phone, they protect it. If someone has important documents, they keep them safe. But most people do not protect the most valuable thing they have, their focused time. That is one of the saddest truths of modern life. People protect objects more than they protect their future. They will buy a cover for their phone. They will lock their door. They will hide their money in a safe place. But they let their attention get stolen every day without resistance. They wake up and immediately hand over their mind to the world. A message comes. They check it. A reel appears. They watch it. A notification makes a sound. They follow it. One small distraction becomes another, then another, then another. And the hour is gone. This is how life gets wasted. Not always through dramatic failure, but through small daily theft. A few minutes here, a few minutes there, a little scrolling, a little delay, a little, I'll start later. And slowly, the most important hour of the day becomes weak, broken, and directionless. If you want to change your life, you cannot treat your 1 hour casually. You cannot say, I'll use it if I feel like it. You cannot say, I'll do it after I check a few things. You cannot say, it's only 1 day. Because that is how discipline dies. That is how dreams become slow and weak. That is how people remain stuck for years while telling themselves they are trying. No, your hour must become non-negotiable. It must become something sacred. something serious, something protected, something that does not get touched by useless noise. When your hour begins, the world should not have access to you. That means no unnecessary phone use, no random scrolling, no pointless entertainment, no wandering from one task to another, no sitting down without purpose. This is your hour, your growth hour, your building hour, your healing hour, your learning hour, your becoming hour. And the moment you start treating it with respect, something powerful happens inside you. You stop living like a victim of distraction. You stop behaving like someone who is available for everything except their own future. You begin to say, "My time matters." That sentence may sound simple, but it changes the way a person lives. Because many people secretly behave as if their own growth does not matter. They give time to everyone. They give time to entertainment. They give time to fear. They give time to procrastination. They give time to overthinking. But they do not give protected time to their own improvement. And then they wonder why their life feels stuck. The answer is painful but clear. A life with no protected time for growth becomes a life of reaction. You are always responding, always catching up, always feeling late, always feeling behind, always feeling like you are busy but not really moving. That is why guarding your hour is not a small habit. It is a statement. It is you telling the world and telling yourself, "For this 1 hour, I choose my future." That one decision starts changing your self-respect. Because discipline is not only about action. Discipline is also about what you refuse to allow. You refuse to let noise control your mind. You refuse to let distraction eat your future. You refuse to let low-value habits steal high-value time. And once you begin doing this daily, your mind starts becoming stronger. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. You may feel the urge to check your phone. You may feel restless. You may feel bored. You may feel tempted to delay. That is normal. Because a distracted mind is not used to silence. A weak routine is not used to structure. A person who has spent too much time reacting is not used to taking command. But that discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that change is happening. Every time you protect your hour, you are teaching your brain an important lesson. I am in charge now. That is powerful, very powerful. Because one of the biggest problems in life is that many people do not feel in control of themselves. They say they want to do something, but they do something else. They say they want to focus, but they get distracted. They say they want change, but they keep serving the same habits. This slowly breaks confidence, because when your actions do not match your intentions, your mind loses trust in you. But when you guard your hour every day, even when it is difficult, you begin rebuilding that trust. You begin proving to yourself, "I can keep a promise to myself." That may be one of the most life-changing feelings in the world. Because once a person learns to trust themselves again, everything begins to shift. Their goals feel more real. Their discipline becomes more stable. Their confidence becomes deeper. Their actions become stronger. And all of it begins with one protected hour. So how do you actually guard the hour like treasure? First, decide in advance when that hour will happen. Do not leave it vague. Do not say, "I'll do it sometime." That is too weak. Choose the hour clearly. Maybe it is the first hour of the morning. Maybe it is after work. Maybe it is at night. The exact time matters less than the seriousness of your decision. Second, remove easy distractions before the hour begins. Keep the phone away. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Sit in a place where your mind knows this is work time, growth time, life-building time. Third, enter the hour with intention. Do not enter it casually. Enter it like someone stepping into a room where their future is being built, because that is exactly what it is. And fourth, repeat this every day until it becomes part of your identity. Not just something you do once when motivation is high. Not just something you try for a week, but something you become known for in your own life. A person who protects time. A person who protects focus. A person who protects their future. Please understand this deeply. Your life will not rise above what you repeatedly protect. If you protect comfort more than growth, comfort will shape your future. If you protect entertainment more than discipline, entertainment will shape your future. If you protect your excuses more than your potential, your excuses will shape your future. But if you protect one powerful hour every day, then slowly, beautifully, powerfully, that hour will begin shaping a new life. And one day, when people see your growth, your clarity, your confidence, your discipline, your results, they may think it happened through luck. But you will know the truth. It happened because you stopped treating your time like something cheap. You started guarding it like treasure, and that changed everything. Lesson 3. Direction before action. This lesson can save years of wasted effort, because many people are not lazy. They are simply moving without direction. They are active, but not effective. Busy, but not growing. Exhausted, but not progressing. And this is one of the most frustrating feelings in life. To work hard and still feel lost. To keep doing things and still feel stuck. To spend energy and still not know if you are moving toward something meaningful. That is why this lesson matters so much. Direction must come before action. Before you use your 1 hour, you must know what that hour is serving. What is the purpose of this hour? What is it building? What future is it helping create? What kind of person is it helping you become? Because if you do not answer those questions, your effort becomes scattered. And scattered effort is dangerous. Not because it makes you weak, but because it makes you tired without reward. A person without direction often mistakes movement for progress. They do a little of this, a little of that. They start one thing, then leave it, then chase another thing, then feel inspired by something new, then quit again. Their life becomes a collection of unfinished energy. That is why some people spend years trying but never transforming. They never really chose a direction. And if you do not choose your direction, the world will choose one for you. Your phone will choose. Trends will choose. Other people's opinions will choose. Random emotions will choose. And then your life becomes a reaction to noise instead of a response to purpose. Please think about how many people live like this. They wake up and jump into action without clarity. They chase money without asking what kind of life they want. They chase approval without asking who they really are. They chase motivation without asking what deserves their energy. They run fast, but they do not know where they are going. And then one day they feel empty. Not because they did nothing, but because what they did had no deep direction. This is why your first powerful hour should not begin with random activity. It should begin with clarity. You must ask yourself honest questions. What am I trying to become? What matters most to me right now? What one area of my life needs my energy most? What skill, habit, or mindset would actually change my future? What kind of life am I trying to build? These questions are powerful because they force you to stop drifting. And drifting is one of the quietest forms of suffering. When a person drifts through life, they may look normal from the outside. They go through the days. They stay busy. They appear occupied. But inside, something feels wrong. There is confusion. There is heaviness. There is hidden frustration. Because the soul feels when life lacks direction. A human being is not designed only to consume, react, and survive. A human being needs meaning, a reason, a target, a direction that brings the heart and mind into alignment. That is why direction is so powerful. Direction gives energy a home. Once you know where you are going, your hour becomes more powerful. A single hour with direction can be more valuable than 10 hours of confused effort. Why? Because direction creates focus. And focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary progress. For example, imagine two people both give 1 hour a day to self-improvement. The first person sits down with no real clarity. They jump from one video to another. Read a little, think a little, scroll a little, write a little, get distracted, change plans, lose momentum. At the end of the hour, they feel busy, but nothing solid was built. Now imagine the second person. Before the hour begins, they know exactly why they are there. Maybe they want to improve their English. Maybe they want to become healthier. Maybe they want to build discipline. Maybe they want to grow a skill that can change their future. Because the direction is clear, the mind becomes serious. The hour becomes cleaner. The actions become sharper. The effort becomes meaningful. And over time, meaningful effort produces meaningful transformation. This is why some people change fast while others stay the same for years. The difference is not always talent. The difference is often clarity. And clarity is a form of power. When you know what matters, you stop wasting energy. When you know your direction, you stop chasing everything. When you know your target, you stop being controlled by random moods. That is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, a mind that knows where it is going. So before action, pause. Before movement, think. Before work, decide. This does not mean you need to know every detail of your future. It does not mean you need a perfect 10-year plan. It simply means that your hour should serve something real, something intentional, something connected to your deeper growth. Maybe your direction is to become more disciplined. Then your hour should be built around habits that train discipline. Maybe your direction is to become fluent in English. Then your hour should be built around speaking, listening, reading, and thinking in English. Maybe your direction is to become healthier. Then your hour should be built around movement, nutrition learning, and physical care. Maybe your direction is to rebuild your life. Then your hour should be built around reflection, learning, focus, and daily correction. The point is simple. Do not begin your hour by asking, "What do I feel like doing?" Begin by asking, "What kind of life am I building?" That question changes everything, because feelings are unstable. Direction is stable. Feelings change with the weather. Feelings change with sleep. Feelings change with stress. Feelings change with mood. But direction can remain even when feelings are weak. And that is how real change happens, not when you feel perfect, but when you know where you are going, even on imperfect days. This is deeply life-changing. Because once a person has direction, they suffer less from confusion. They may still have hard days. They may still struggle. They may still feel tired sometimes, but they are no longer completely lost. And there is great strength in not being lost. Direction gives peace. Direction gives courage. Direction gives patience. Direction gives strength to continue. It reminds you that your hour is not random. It is connected to a bigger vision, a bigger purpose, a bigger future. So please remember this. Action without direction creates exhaustion. Direction before action creates transformation. Do not just use your hour, aim it, point it, give it meaning. Let it serve a future that matters. Because when your hour has direction, it no longer feels like just another piece of the day. It becomes a weapon against confusion. It becomes a bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. And that is when 1 hour stops being ordinary. That is when 1 hour begins to change your life. Lesson 4. Specific target. Your hour must have a specific target. Many people sit down with good intentions but no clear target. They say, I want to improve myself. I want to do something productive. I want to change my life. I want to work on my future. These words sound good. They sound positive. They sound serious. But there is one problem. They are too vague. And vague effort creates weak results. Why? Because the mind needs clarity. The human mind performs much better when it knows exactly what it is supposed to do. If you sit down during your 1 hour and say, I just want to become better, your mind has no real direction for the next step. Should you read? Should you write? Should you exercise? Should you study? Should you plan? Should you reflect? Should you practice speaking? Should you learn a skill? Because the target is unclear, the mind becomes scattered. And when the mind is scattered, time gets wasted. You move, but not strongly. You try, but not deeply. You spend the hour, but you do not use the hour. That is why a specific target is so powerful. A specific target gives your hour a mission. It turns your time into focused action. It turns hope into structure. It turns motivation into real progress. Please understand this carefully. A person does not become confident just because they are motivated. A person becomes confident when they keep completing clear actions. That is why specific targets matter so much. They help you finish something. They help you measure something. They help you see progress. And progress is one of the greatest sources of motivation in the world. When a person sees progress, they want to continue. When a person feels lost, they want to quit. So if you want your 1 hour to truly change your life, you must stop entering that hour with only emotion. Enter it with a target. Not just, I want to learn English, but I will speak in English for 20 minutes. I will learn 10 useful sentences. I will shadow 1 audio clearly. I will read 2 pages aloud. I will write 1 short paragraph in English. Not just I want to get healthier, but I will walk for 40 minutes. I will do 20 minutes of stretching. I will complete 1 workout. I will prepare 1 healthy meal. I will spend 1 hour moving my body. Not just I want to improve my life, but I will read 10 pages of a powerful book. I will write my goals clearly. I will plan tomorrow. I will journal about what is holding me back. I will learn 1 idea that can make me stronger. Do you see the difference? One is emotional. The other is actionable. One feels inspiring. The other creates results. And life changes through results. Specific targets are important because they remove confusion. They stop you from wasting your best energy. They help you begin quickly. When the target is clear, there is less overthinking. You do not sit there asking, what should I do now? You already know, And that is powerful, because many people do not lose their life through one big mistake. They lose it through daily confusion, too much hesitation, too much switching, too much guessing, too much randomness, too much waiting for the perfect mood. A specific target cuts through that confusion like a sharp blade. It tells your mind, this is what we are here to do. That one sentence can make your hours stronger, cleaner, and more effective. They train seriousness. When a person starts setting clear targets every day, they stop treating growth like a wish. They start treating it like work, real work, important work, sacred work. They stop saying, I hope I improve. They start saying, today I will complete this. That shift is huge, because hope is beautiful, but hope without structure often stays weak. Structure gives hope muscles. Structure gives dreams legs. Structure gives desire a path. And that path begins with one specific target. A specific target does not need to be huge. In fact, it is often better when it is small and clear, because small, clear actions are easier to repeat. And repeated actions create transformation. For example, reading 10 pages every day may look small, but in 1 year that becomes thousands of pages. Practicing English speaking for 20 minutes a day may look small, but over time, your mouth becomes more natural, your mind becomes faster, and your confidence grows. Walking 1 hour a day may look simple, but your body, energy, mood, and discipline begin to change. Journaling for 15 minutes a day may look quiet, but it can completely change how you think. This is the beauty of a specific target. It makes growth real, not dramatic, not fake, not loud, real. And real growth is often quiet in the beginning. No one claps, no one notices, no one celebrates you. But your life is changing. Your thinking is sharpening. Your discipline is building. Your inner respect is growing. And this is where many people fail. They want dramatic results without daily precision. They want change without targets. They want confidence without consistent proof. They want a better life, but they never tell their hour exactly what to do. So their energy stays loose, their mind stays unfocused, and their future stays weak. Please do not live like that. If you truly want 1 hour a day to change your life, then every hour must know its job. Every hour must carry a purpose. Every hour must move one step forward. That is why specific targets are not a small detail. They are a major difference between dreaming and building. And let me tell you something even deeper. Specific targets also protect you from emotional excuses. When the time comes to work, your emotions may say, I'm tired. I don't feel ready. I'll do it later. I don't know what to do. It reminds you, no, this is today's mission. That is powerful. Because when you keep obeying your mission instead of your mood, you build self-respect. And self-respect is one of the strongest foundations of a powerful life. So from now on, do not enter your 1 hour with only a dream. Enter it with a target. Do not sit down and simply hope something good happens. Sit down with intention. Sit down with clarity. Sit down with a goal that can be completed. Maybe not perfectly, but clearly. Because clear action, repeated daily, becomes extraordinary change. And one day when you look back at the person you used to be, you will understand something beautiful. Your life did not change because you wished harder. It changed because you became more precise. You gave each hour a task. You gave each day a mission. You gave your effort a direction. And slowly, that specific target began building a very different future. That is the power of this lesson. Not just doing something, but knowing exactly what must be done. That is how 1 hour becomes powerful. That is how 1 hour becomes transformative. Lesson 5. Learn one useful thing that makes you grow. Sometimes life changes because of one useful thing learned every day. Just one. One useful idea. One useful lesson. One useful skill. One useful truth. One useful understanding. That is enough. Many people never grow because they make growth feel too big in their mind. They think they need to learn everything at once. They think they need to transform their whole life in 1 week. They think they need massive knowledge, massive confidence, massive clarity, massive success immediately. And because the goal feels too big, they feel pressure. Because they feel pressure, they feel overwhelmed. Because they feel overwhelmed, they delay. And because they delay, they stay the same. This happens to so many people. Not because they are incapable, but because they misunderstand how growth works. Growth is often much simpler than people think. A person can change their life by learning one useful thing every day and actually applying it. One useful thing can open your eyes. One useful thing can correct a wrong habit. One useful thing can save you years of confusion. One useful thing can make you stronger. One useful thing can change the way you speak, think, act, plan, focus, learn, eat, respond, and live. That is why your 1 hour every day should include learning. Not random information. Not useless entertainment disguised as learning. Not endless consumption that fills the mind but changes nothing. No. Learn something useful. Something practical. Something that strengthens your life. Something that can actually help you become better. This is important because we live in a time where information is everywhere, but wisdom is rare. People watch content all day and still stay stuck. People listen to advice all day and still do not change. People save videos, collect quotes, and follow inspiration accounts, but their real life remains the same. Why? Because they are collecting information, not learning useful things deeply. And there is a big difference. Useful learning is not about quantity. It is about impact. It is not about how much enters your ears. It is about what enters your life. For example, learning one useful thing about discipline can help you stop delaying your future. Learning one useful thing about communication can help you speak more clearly and confidently. Learning one useful thing about health can improve your energy and your mind. Learning one useful thing about English can improve your fluency step by step. Learning one useful thing about focus can protect your life from distraction. Learning one useful thing about emotions can save relationships and inner peace. Learning one useful thing about money can change your financial future. So never underestimate the power of one useful lesson. And this is where your 1 hour becomes so powerful. Because every day you can feed your mind with something that helps you grow. Instead of feeding your mind with noise, comparison, fear, gossip, drama, or meaningless content, you can feed it with strength. You can feed it with truth. You can feed it with ideas that build you. That is one of the greatest acts of self-respect. To stop poisoning your mind with useless things and start nourishing it with useful things. Because the mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, there begins to grow. If you plant distraction, your life becomes distracted. If you plant laziness, your actions become weak. If you plant negativity, your thinking becomes heavy. But if you plant strong ideas every day, your mind begins to change. And once the mind changes, life begins to follow. This is why one useful thing every day is not a small habit. It is a way of rebuilding yourself, quietly, deeply, powerfully. What kind of things should a person learn in that 1 hour? The answer is simple. Learn something that improves the quality of your life. Learn something that solves a real problem. Learn something that strengthens an important area of your future. For some people, that may be English. For some people, that may be discipline. For some people, that may be mindset. For some people, that may be communication. For some people, that may be health. For some people, that may be money, business, or a useful skill. The point is not to learn everything. The point is to learn what truly serves your growth. And this is where many people make a mistake. They chase what is interesting in the moment instead of what is important in the long term. They learn random things, start random goals, follow random trends, consume random content, so their knowledge becomes wide but weak. They know a little about many things, but nothing changes in their actual life. Do not do that. Your 1 hour is too valuable for random learning. Use it for meaningful learning. Use it for learning that builds power inside you. Use it for learning that turns into action. Because real learning should not only make you say, "That was interesting." It should make you say, "That changed the way I live." That is the kind of learning that transforms a person. You do not have to become a genius overnight. You do not have to master everything at once. You only need humility and consistency. Humility to admit that there are things you need to learn, and consistency to return every day and learn one more useful thing. That simple habit can make a person unstoppable over time. Imagine a person who learns one useful thing every day for 1 year. Think about what happens to their mind. Their thinking becomes sharper. Their awareness becomes deeper. Their actions become wiser. Their mistakes become fewer. Their confidence becomes stronger. Their life becomes more intentional. Why? Because they are no longer living on autopilot. They are becoming conscious. They are becoming aware. They are becoming teachable. And a teachable mind is one of the most powerful minds in the world because it never stays stuck for too long. It keeps learning. It keeps adjusting. It keeps improving. It keeps growing. No matter where you are right now, you are never as trapped as you think. You can begin growing today. You can begin learning today. You can begin rebuilding your mind today. You can begin feeding your future with useful knowledge today. That means hope is not far away. Hope is in the next hour. Hope is in the next lesson. Hope is in the next useful truth you choose to respect. So please promise yourself something. Do not let your mind live on junk. Do not let your 1 hour get filled with empty noise. Do not let your attention be wasted on things that make you weaker. Choose one useful thing. Learn it deeply, respect it, apply it. Then come back tomorrow and learn one more. This is how ordinary people become powerful, not by doing dramatic things for 2 days, but by feeding their mind useful truth again and again and again. And one day, the life that once felt confusing, slow, and heavy begins to feel different, stronger, clearer, better, because you started giving your mind what it actually needed to grow. And that is one of the greatest gifts a person can give themselves. Not more distraction, not more excuses, not more empty stimulation, but one useful thing every day that makes them grow. That is how 1 hour becomes wisdom. Lesson 6. Build discipline. A lot of people want a better life. They want better health. Better focus, better confidence, better English, better habits, better income, better peace, better results. But very few people understand what actually carries a person from where they are to where they want to be. It is not motivation alone. It is not talent alone. It is not luck alone. It is discipline. Because that 1 hour is not only helping you learn or improve. That 1 hour is training you to become a stronger human being. It is training your mind to obey your decision. And that is one of the rarest powers in the world. Think about it honestly. Many people live in a painful war with themselves. They say they will wake up early, but they do not. They say they will stop wasting time, but they do not. They say they will study, exercise, focus, practice, read, build, improve. But when the moment comes, they delay. Then they feel guilty. Then they promise again. Then they break the promise again. And slowly, something very painful happens inside them. They stop trusting themselves. This is one of the saddest things that can happen to a person. When your own mind can no longer trust your words. When your mouth says one thing, but your actions do another. When your dreams are big, but your habits are weak. That creates frustration. That creates shame. That creates inner disappointment. And over time, a person starts feeling powerless. Not because they truly are powerless, but because they have repeated undisciplined behavior so many times that their identity becomes damaged. They begin to think, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I can't change. Maybe I always start and never finish. Maybe I'm not strong enough. Maybe this is just who I am. No, that is not who they are. That is who their habits trained them to believe they are. Discipline can rebuild a broken relationship between you and yourself. Discipline teaches your mind something powerful. I do what I say I will do. That sentence can change a life. Because once your mind starts believing that, your whole inner world begins to change. Your confidence grows. Your self-respect grows. Your peace grows. Your strength grows. Why? Because discipline is not only about getting results. It is about becoming someone solid, someone dependable, someone internally powerful, someone who does not collapse every time emotions change. And this is why 1 hour is so important. Because 1 hour is realistic. 1 hour is manageable. 1 hour can be repeated. And through repeating that 1 hour day after day, you slowly stop being controlled by mood. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop making decisions based on comfort. You stop asking yourself every day, do I feel like doing it? Instead, you begin living by a new standard. This is what I do. That is discipline. And discipline is beautiful because it frees you from emotional chaos. A person without discipline is often controlled by feelings. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel excited, they begin. If they feel bored, they quit. If they feel inspired, they promise. If they feel lazy, they disappear. That kind of life becomes unstable, unpredictable, weak, and painful. Because emotions are not designed to be your master. Emotions are real, but they change constantly. One day you feel strong. Another day you feel low. One morning you feel clear. Another morning you feel confused. If you build your future only on emotions, your future will shake every time your mood changes. But discipline gives you something stronger than mood. It gives you a system. It gives you a standard. It gives you an inner command. It says, even if I am tired, I will show up. Even if I do not feel perfect, I will begin. Even if the day feels difficult, I will protect my hour. That is strength. Real strength. Not loud strength. Not fake motivational strength. Quiet strength. Steady strength. The kind of strength that changes lives from the inside out. Now let us go even deeper. Why does 1 hour build discipline so powerfully? Because discipline grows through repetition. It is not born in one dramatic moment. It is trained. Every day you sit down for your 1 hour, you are giving your brain a lesson. You are teaching it. We do not run from effort. We do not surrender to distraction. We do not need excitement to take action. We are becoming someone stronger. That daily message becomes powerful over time. At first, it may feel difficult. Your old habits may fight back. Your mind may say, just skip today. You can do it tomorrow. You deserve a break. Just one day won't matter. You are too tired. You can start fresh next week. Those thoughts are not always truth. Often, they are just the voice of your old identity trying to survive. Because whenever you try to become more disciplined, your old, comfortable self will resist. The lazy version of you does not want to disappear. The distracted version of you does not want to lose control. The weak habits that ruled your life do not want to be replaced. So yes, resistance will come. But that is exactly where discipline is built. Not when everything feels easy, but when your old self says no, and your stronger self says yes. That moment is sacred. That moment matters. Because in that moment, you are not just choosing an action. You are choosing an identity. You are choosing who will lead your life. The weaker self or the stronger self. The comfort-seeking self or the purpose-driven self. The distracted self or the disciplined self. And every time you choose the disciplined self, even in a small way, you become stronger. That is why you should never underestimate the power of simply showing up. Showing up is not small. Showing up is proof.